Their parents send them out because it's safer to sleep here than in their own homes.
Why?
Because death comes at night in the villages.
One man's battle against the unspeakable horrors of civil war in East Africa plays out on the big screen in Machine Gun Preacher, and the film had its LA premiere in Beverly Hills Wednesday night. The film tells the real-life story of Sam Childers, a drug-dealing, tough-as-nails biker gang member until he found religion, shed his criminal past, and devoted his life to the rather risky practice of rescuing hundreds of kidnapped and orphaned children caught up in the middle of Sudan's bloody conflict, not the least of which included building an orphanage smack dab in the middle of one of the most hostile territories. Gerard Butler plays Childers, and prior to filming, spent a year researching the man and his seemingly impossible mission to save as many people caught in the crossfire as he could.
I can save some children, John, okay? Do you understand that?
I do, but I'm telling you.
But nothing!
This guy, he doesn't get much crazier than this, and the more I got involved with him, the more I spent time with him, the more I learned about his story. You're going, really? Did this really? You know, you don't get much more courage or insanity than you do with Sam Childers, because the more you learn about this situation, you realize it is the most dangerous situation there is when you're down there and in the middle of it, and he just went right in there.
One of the biggest challenges Butler faced was making sure his portrayal lived up to the real deal, and with the real-life Childers always on set during filming, the pressure was indeed on, but co-star SOULEYMANE de SAVANE says Butler's portrayal was spot on.
It was a lot of truth in what Gerard did. And also having met Sam and spoken to Sam, and you're probably going to see him now, Gerard did an unbelievable job. And as an actor, you know, I can tell you, it's sometimes harder to depict someone like from real life than just going from, I would say, more of a fictional character. And he just nailed it, you know, to speak in plain English, he nailed it.
You know, we always say, when people have a good life story, who they'd want to have play them in the movie. Did you always think it was going to be Gerard Butler?
Well, after I seen the movie, I wouldn't want anybody but Gerard Butler. He done an excellent job. Very good job.
See this? Yes. This girl watched her family being killed, and then they set her on fire.
But Childers is quick to point out what's featured in the film is just the tip of the iceberg.
The actual problem we couldn't put on the big screen. The problem is not just this one little rebel group, Joseph Kony. The big problem is the president of Northern Sudan. This man has caused a genocide in Darfur, a genocide in South Sudan. They're still fighting in South Sudan, Abyei, Nuba Mountains, Blue Nile. There's still a lot of fighting going on.
And while it might not be the most light-hearted form of escapism in theaters, many on the red carpet agree that the film should bring some much-needed attention to a very troubled part of the world right now, despite the many issues currently happening here on the home front.
You know what, there's a lot going on in our own backyards. You know, we're in a country that's in recession right now. It's hard to be focused on world events when a lot of families are suffering about putting food on the table and people are losing jobs. We have a big unemployment. The reality is this is on a different level. So, you know, if it takes making a movie for people to kind of grasp or kind of understand what's going on the other side of the world, that's okay. You can't preach to people and be upset with them that they don't know exactly what's going on. Nobody does, but we can hopefully enlighten them a little bit.
Some of the stuff that he sees over there, I mean, we could never imagine anything like that. You know, kids being nailed to trees. He's told me stories about kids just like being nailed to a tree and just horrible things, and that we could never imagine. And you're right, we don't have as big of problems over there. And when I read this, it was just like such an eye-opener, because as like a kid looking at other kids, it's heartbreaking, and it just really makes you think like, oh my God, that could be me.
It says what it is. We are human beings. Even though we're Americans, we're always expected to know everything. And I do believe that we're very overwhelmed already as it is with our lives, with our country, with our society, our politics, our culture. But if anything, I feel like a movie like this, I really hope that it continues to encourage us to always keep looking, besides what we see on television, besides what we read in our press, but to always keep inquiring, because no matter how bad your things might be on your side of the pond, there's always somebody else who's having a harder day.
As negative as the situation in Sudan appears on screen, Machine Gun Preacher is at its heart a film about redemption and hope. something Butler says audiences can connect with and something Childers says can inspire one to bring about change.
I've seen all the women from The View. I've never seen people respond with such heart and loved it. I've seen people from all walks of life respond. You know, Piers Morgan, guys that just love this movie. It's easy to take. It's the truth, and there's some stuff in there that's pretty powerful, but it's also inspiring and it's funny and it's adventurous. I mean, all of that. It's an incredible story.
I would have to say to everybody out there, don't think about what you have ever done in the past, because that can hold us back. Think about what you can do in the future if you can stop your addiction or just start living a good life. Mainly, try to help somebody else and not yourself.
Machine Gun Preacher opens this Friday in New York and Los Angeles with a wider release planned in November. In Beverly Hills, Scott Edwards, CBSNews.com.